Hi, this is Mark Emery with the Lighthouse Law Club. I'd like to take the next few minutes to introduce you to the new Global Entrepreneur membership level in the Lighthouse Law Club. The Global Entrepreneurs is a training system that deals in advanced business and financial concepts. We explore the opportunities that exist in the international business and financial marketplace. This membership level is designed primarily for people who have cash flow and assets that they want to protect, maximize, make more secure, optimize, and do all that for the benefit of an enhanced lifestyle and more effective long-term financial planning. This is an exciting opportunity that we put together based on many years of experience, my own personal experience, and I'll be sharing what I've learned over the years in terms of what works, what doesn't work, what's effective, and how to basically take advantage of the international arena for maximum productivity and business use. So we're going to explore some concepts here in the next few minutes. I'm going to share with you in general terms so you can kind of get a flavor for where we're headed and what you can expect as a global entrepreneur. So let's first talk about asset protection. Asset protection is about the simplest concept in business that there is. And I'll tell you what the key is right now. The key is they can't take it from you if you don't own it. The object is to be a pauper on paper, yet live like a king. Janis Joplin said it best in her song from the 60s. Freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose. Now, the nuances come into play in setting things up properly so that you can have full use and access and ultimately control in the background, but not be the owner. They can't take it from you if you don't own it. And that will be the challenge, to position your assets properly so that you can have the security and peace of mind knowing that you're not going to work your entire life only to have someone take those things from you. All right, let's talk about business structures. Our global entrepreneurs will learn the benefits, the pros and the cons, and how to use contractual business organizations, aka private trusts, blind trusts, it goes by many names. We'll also look at the foundation of private interest. The one here in Panama is modeled after the foundation, the private foundation of Liechtenstein. And it's got some very specific and unique features that are very beneficial in asset management, asset protection, and estate planning. And of course, we've got the offshore corporation, LLCs, different forms of business structures. And the beautiful thing about the international marketplace is you can pick and choose which jurisdictions are more friendly to your purposes. It might depend on where you're doing business. It might depend on the tax regimen. We look at stability. Maybe it depends on where you'd like to be. So there's a variety of factors involved, but the great thing is, in the international marketplace, you can pick and choose the jurisdiction that is most suitable for your purposes. And that's the beauty of it. So that's one important element. Let's move on to the next one. Now, let's talk about one of the most critical aspects of business and finance, and that is banking. Banking has become very difficult, to be quite polite. These days, it's nearly impossible to deal with the banks in the way that they want to deal with you versus how you want to deal with them. The banks have become very predatory. They are more afraid of the regulators at this point, and they work for the regulators and their shareholders more than they work for their depositors. You should be aware, and you may be, that now by law, in the U.S. and in other places, when you deposit your money into a bank, that is no longer your money. By law, you are now an unsecured creditor. And if the bank decides that they want to use that money, let's say they have some kind of problem, their investments go bad, they haven't managed their reserve requirements or their liquidity properly enough, and in order to get their ratios back in balance, they just need to do a bail-in and take 30% of your money. It's happened before, it's happened again, and it's happening more often. We can look for that to happen again in the future. Banks are running on razor-thin liquidity. Their reserve requirements are on the edge, and that's the reason they're looking over their shoulder at the regulators. Again, they don't work for the depositors, their clients, they work for the regulators and their shareholders. Banks are becoming increasingly suspicious about doing international bank wires. They want to know every little detail. Well, what's this for? Who's this going to? What's their address? Are they an established business? Is this a credible transaction? And the questions go on. In some cases, banks are not even allowing their customers to do international wire transfers. This happened with one major bank already in the United States. Clients were denied the facility of doing an international bank wire. What do you call that in other terms? Capital controls. They're controlling what you do with your money. In some cases, because of the liquidity issue, large account holders, wealthy clients, have had their accounts seized or frozen. They went to make a transfer or withdrawal, and the bank would not allow it. The bank could not suffer the hit they would take on their books by allowing those balances to leave their books, and they denied the client access to his own money. This is what we're dealing with in international banking. The banks have become extremely predatory, and to allow them to have any kind of fiduciary control over any amount of wealth is a serious mistake, in my opinion. Look at Deutsche Bank, one of the largest, previously most respected banks in the world. They're sitting on such a large pile of derivative investments that are sour and rotten. They're on the verge of folding, and they would have folded already by now if they haven't been propped up by foreign investors to keep them going with operational cash flow. When Deutsche Bank goes down, it will have a ripple effect worldwide, and it will initiate a financial crisis. Needless to say, banks are not where you want to have any amount of assets sitting or being held. Now, where does that lead us? Our global entrepreneurs have access to a non-banking financial institution. What is a non-banking financial institution? These are transaction facilitators recognized, encouraged, and promoted by the World Bank. For lack of a better term, and for easy reference, let's just use the term credit union. It functions very much like a private credit union where the members own, manage, and control the entity itself. And they're actually shareholders in it. So, that's something quite interesting right off the bat. So imagine just for a minute if, as a global entrepreneur in our small, closed, private group, we have access to our own credit union, non-banking financial institution. What could we do with that? First of all, The concept calls for assets being held outside of the government-controlled fiat currencies of the world, which are all depreciating assets. You know how the prices go up every month in the grocery store. It's not that the prices are going up, it's that the value of your fiat currency is going down. Did you know in Venezuela, their 100 Bolivar note bill is the largest bill in existence, and their inflation has been so rampant, so hyper, that the prices require large stacks of those bills. And for efficiency, they're not counting the bills anymore. You know what they're doing? They're weighing them. Oh, you've got 3 ounces of 100 Bolivar notes here. All right, that'll do. They don't even count them. In essence, they're bringing them in by the duffel bag in the wheelbarrow, weighing the notes to find out how much cash you have. Now, what if that were to happen in the rest of the world? The point being, depreciating assets are not where you want to have wealth stored or denominated in. US dollars, British pound, euro, Japanese yen, they're all the same. So what's the alternative? Our credit union will hold only appreciable assets, such as gold. Gold holds its value. Sure, it's taken a dip just recently due to market manipulations, but it always holds its value. Today, the same amount of gold would buy you a car just the same as it would back in 1963. The same amount of gold will buy the same loaf of bread. Now, when the collapse begins, many people are quite confident that we will see serious economic disruptions. When those events begin, we can expect to see inflation rise, if not hyperinflate the prices. The value of your fiat currencies will drop like a rock, and you'll be darn glad to have your holdings in gold, or you know about Bitcoin. Today is January 1st. I'm recording this New Year's Day. In the last month, Bitcoin has risen in value according to the fiat currencies by 25 to 30%. 1 month, 25%. That's an appreciable asset. Cryptocurrencies are an appreciable asset. So, the point being is that our credit union will not hold fiat currencies. They'll hold only alternative assets such as cryptocurrencies and gold, which can be easily convertible into the fiat currency if you need to pull some out and go spend it, take a vacation, buy another business, whatever you need it for. Easily convertible and liquid at all times. Think about that. That is critical. Now, our credit union is structured in such a way that it is multi-jurisdictional. So there are layers to it. It's decompartmentalized. The account management will be handled by an online banking software, not as good as the bank you currently have, but better. We have a software which is highly secure and uses more than simply passwords to access. There's a full audit trail for every transaction that's ever done within the system. It cannot be manipulated. And there are all kinds of checks and balances to maintain the security of what we're doing. But imagine converting your fiat currency into appreciable assets, having access to them on a 24-hour notice via debit card, where you can go to any ATM in the world virtually and withdraw your cash when you need it. The credit union itself is managed by you and the rest of your members, so you have a say in what's going on, you have oversight, you have control. These are just a few of the benefits, not to mention absolute 100% security. You will not have, as a global entrepreneur, you will not have an account with the credit union. Accounts will be held only by a private trust. And there are significant benefits to that in terms of asset protection and privacy, which we'll get into more in training. So think about that for a moment. Think about how that could change your financial future, your business plan, your security, and quite frankly, your livelihood. Free from predators, multi-jurisdictional, out of reach. It's not depreciating in value like the fiat currencies. That's powerful. That's extremely powerful. So, that's just one element of the global entrepreneurs, which I trust you can appreciate. So, let's continue. And what would the life of an international entrepreneur be like if you couldn't get out and enjoy a little bit of culture once in a while? As we learn to go out and plant our 5 flags for citizenship, residency, business, banking, and playgrounds, we'll have plenty of opportunity to enjoy a little bit of culture, experiment with the lifestyle, learn a little bit about history, and basically enjoy the fruits of living well in God's beautiful creation, as He has given us dominion over the earth. After all, it's up to us to enjoy it, isn't it? I hope you enjoy your Global Entrepreneur membership, and we'll look forward to seeing you around the world. Take care and God bless.